Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Derek, got a fun and exciting video for you guys today, especially if you love really bad voice acted arcade style fighter jet games. That is because I'm taking a look at the Ace Combat 6 static recomp for the Xbox 360, and this one finally went 1.0 status, so that's why I'm making the video, because in previous releases, honestly, I set everything up correctly, but the game would crash out within like a second of launching it. I had absolutely no idea why that was, but this version is stable on my system. Tried it on my laptop as well, just to make sure that that was replicated, and now I can finally talk about it. And honestly, it's the perfect timing, at least as the recording of this voiceover, because it is the Air and Water Show in Chicago this weekend, and we're going to be having some fighter jets fly all over our city. Hopefully it doesn't end up like this, but it is kind of fun timing. Unfortunately, it's supposed to be thunder and lightning the entire weekend, so I'm probably going to have to skip this one if they even actually have it. But honestly, Ace Combat 6, definitely a very fun game, especially if you love a good arcade-style fighter jet game. It's one of those things. We have the Afterburners, we have the Ace Combats, both incredible franchises. But honestly, this game really does hit in all the best ways possible for the genre. And I did use a flight stick on this to test it out. It did take me a while to actually get it fully configured though, because I did have to pivot some things up. I tried it on Xbox Series X controller, and that worked perfectly fine the first time. But my PC flight stick required a little bit more configuration, but I did get it done. And honestly, if you have a flight stick, that is 100% the way you're going to want to play this game. It just absolutely brings you in for more immersion. But as far as the static recomp is concerned, definitely running well here. Wasn't using too many system resources. It is compatible with all of the DLC as well, and really just felt like playing a really good, prettier version of Ace Combat 6, because it definitely has some graphical enhancements around the edges, and that's definitely something I appreciate, because I have a copy of this game for my Xbox 360. I basically have every single mainline entry in this franchise that's ever released on console, because I really do like them, and even if I consider Afterburner Climax maybe the best game in the genre, just because it pushes the arcade aspect way further, this one definitely is fun. And if you heard a little bit of noise in the background, that was legit a fighter jet flying over my house right now. I decided to time this voiceover up to it just because I figured it would be a fun time and kind of a little bit of a kitschy. It's actually happening in my city. And speaking of kitschy, the story in this game is absolutely 69 out of 10 saccharinely weird, and it is a complete vibe. The voice acting is janky, the story doesn't really make all that much sense, and that's exactly how I would want to have it for an arcade vibe game. And honestly, I love that they even made up the countries here, because the bad guys in this game are completely fictional, even if they have some of the thickest Russian accents since Ivan Drago fought Rocky Balboa in Rocky. Honestly, it's just one of those things. The Russians always seem to be the bad guys, and honestly, this game just should have run with it, but I totally get they don't want to upset anybody, so they just basically make up different names. But when I say if you've never played this game before, the story is absolutely bonkers. It is 100% so. It is just something that they kind of shoehorned in there, and I love it because it basically goes in all sorts of different directions, and it can be pretty hard to follow exactly the motivations of the country you're even attacking. But honestly, getting a lot of story in an arcade vibe game is always going to be a good time, and this might not be Sega levels of bad for voice acting, but it's definitely chomping at its heels. But as we get further into the actual combat, because again, it's called Ace Combat, not Ace Storyline and voice acting, it is smooth, it is fluid, really didn't have any issues getting a perfect frame rate with this one, outside of a few hitches and cutscenes as things are loading up. But that will happen on real hardware as well, so that's just something inherent into the game, it seems like. And in the background, another fighter jet just went over our house, and honestly, we don't really have many bridges in Chicago, so we don't need to worry about that. But I will say, completely getting off track, the Air and Water Show in Chicago is one of my favorite events that happens every single year, and I am really bummed out that there is going to be thunder and lightning this year, especially because people in the city always try to get the thing canceled every single time, saying it makes a lot of noise and it is disruptive. For me personally, and I totally get everyone gets their opinion, seeing the height of engineering flying over our city, doing some of the most crazy shit possible, really just makes me love it even more. But I get it, my dogs aren't fans, so it's one of those things. You take the good and you take the bad. But as far as this recomp is concerned, again, getting very off track on this one, that does happen sometimes, and I think you guys are entertained by it. It is just such a fun game. And if we take a look at all the visuals, everything seems to be working correctly as well. I'll get into that a little bit more after the soundtrack break, but go ahead and listen to the soundtrack for 45 seconds to get a sense of the audio quality, and then we'll come back and talk about the port's performance.
Where should I direct the people now? Watch out! The enemy has a lock on you!
I'll take care of this one. They act like they own the sky. I'll get a lock any second.
So that definitely just sounds like Ace Combat 6 to me, and honestly, sometimes audio quality issues are easier to detect than little blips in the visuals because your ear and brain are so much better at understanding when things don't sound right than your eye and your brain are when you understand whether or not something looks right. And this is using RexGlue with Xenia underneath, but it seems to be highly enhanced because I put this game on my PC and then use Xenia just to kind of see the performance around the edges. And I have an i9-12900K and a 3080 Ti with 64 gigabytes of RAM, and obviously this Recomp is pushing above Xenia, at least for the overall specs that you're going to be using, because that is the thing. Sometimes you can get them to be about par, but you're going to be using a hell of a lot more system resources versus using RexGlue and statically recompiling the PowerPC code portion of the actual game. And this would be one that would be fun if we got a custom renderer in the future, because that is kind of where RexGlue is going, moving over towards a more custom render option like we see on Sonic Unleashed and Skate 3 versus actually having something like Xenia underpinning some of it. But with all of these particle effects in the sky, all of these explosions and everything else, it's smooth as performance, exactly what it is that you want. And this game definitely is pretty. It definitely kind of hews more towards the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 era of let's not put all that much color in it. When you get bright blue skies, you get some really good atmospheric looking clouds, and all of these smoke contrails here from the missiles and the planes, they do look absolutely stunning in my opinion. Not just for the recap, but for the game in general. I've always loved how Ace Combat 6 looked. But I'm really curious, you tell me down in the comments below, are you even a fan of this franchise, and which one is your favorite game? Because I feel like this one might not do the best views, even though I'm pretty excited about it, just because it is a genre that I've always enjoyed. And it's one of those things, there's so many different recomps coming, not just for the Xbox 360, but for every console. There's definitely going to be some releases where you're absolutely excited to get it. There's going to be some releases where you think to yourself, well, I'm not really going to play that because I don't enjoy the game. Because the true reality situation is a static recomp, a PC source port, is not going to make you like a game that you never loved before. But if it is one of your favorite games and you enjoyed it, a lot of times you will get a better experience when you're playing it than you would when you're actually on emulation. And definitely Xbox 360 real hardware, because the one thing this won't do is put your Xbox 360 at risk of getting the red ring of death. All jokes aside, I think I'm on like 7th Xbox at this point in time since they actually released, and obviously I have later models that aren't susceptible to it, but I went through like 4 or 5 when I actually had an Xbox 360 when they were new, so getting this alone, not risking breaking something, that is 10 out of 10 good. And as we kind of navigate around the world here, like I said, if you do have a flight stick, spend the extra time to get everything configured correctly, because it just adds that much more kind of immersion to the game. I have a flight stick with a throttle control on the side, and it was really the throttle that was giving me the most hell, because that's on the trigger buttons on your Xbox controller like a Series X. The analogs are going to be your speed. Well, let's do one more soundtrack sample, because again, this game has some really good music and some really hokey voice acting, and it really kind of sells the immersion of an arcade fighter jet dogfighting game. So go ahead and listen. I'll be right back with just a little bit more of the Ace Combat 6 Recomp.
Don't let any of them get by.
Scored a kill.
The Slovakian threat level has been reduced. You should be able to hold out against them.
Narita 1, we've almost got him. Let's do this one plane at a time.
Shot down.
This one's mine.
So if you want to check this one out today, the link is in the description below to the GitHub repository with the 1.0 release. Just need to bring your legally owned Ace Combat 6 files along for the ride. Go ahead and put the disk image into the folder, double click the executable, and it will load up immediately on your PC. And I did test this on Windows 10 because I am still not moving over to Windows 11 until Microsoft absolutely just takes it from me when one of the pieces of software I need for my work or the channel stops working because it updates past Windows 10. And I checked on my Windows 11 laptop and it was perfectly fine there as well. So this one's definitely a successful recomp as far as I'm concerned. It's an absolutely amazing game. The recomp works really well, and everything else I need to have fun is just here. Because when I play a recomp or actual source port, I want to stop thinking about the technology underlying how it's running and just start having fun, and that's exactly what I had with Ace Combat 6. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, but I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.